working on lesson 5.5, which is dividing fractions. And the objective today is exactly that. Students will divide fractions and mixed numbers. This is beginning on page 243 and is essential question 1. Before we get started, I want to show you kind of how dividing works. I want you to think about having 8 of something. Let's say we have a box that has 8 pieces in it. Okay? Now, if you had 8 pieces, and I said to you, we want to break that into 2 groups, okay? Breaking or dividing into 2 groups would be dividing by 2. Now, if we broke this or divided into 2 groups, each group would have 4 pieces in it, right? We'd have 2 groups with 4 pieces. Now, the reason I'm showing you this is because instead of dividing, we can also think about this in terms of multiplying. If you think about it, what if you took 8 times 1/2? That would be like taking half of the 8. Remember, multiply means of. We learned that in yesterday's multiplying lesson. If you took half of 8, here's your 8, you take half of it, that would equal 4 as well. Now, the reason I'm showing you this is because I want you to understand that dividing by 2 and multiplying by 1/2 give you the same amount. They do the same thing. They take whatever you have and it divides it into 2 equal groups, or it takes half of what you have, which is also taking 1 of 2 groups. Now, I want you to look at the number 2 and the number 1/2. What you should notice about the number 2 and the number 1/2 is that they are something called reciprocals. Oops, sorry, I spelled that wrong. Nope, this is an O. Sorry, reciprocals. Okay, I'm officially a terrible speller today. Let me try that again. Reciprocals. There. Holy cow. Okay, so they're reciprocals of each other. Reciprocals are 2 numbers that you could multiply by each other to get 1. If I took 2 times 1/2, 2 times 1 is 2. This is really a 1, so 1 times 2 is 2. That equals 1. Now, reciprocals are 2 numbers that when you multiply them, you get 1. If you look at what they really are, it's a fraction flipped upside down. 2/1 and 1/2 are considered reciprocals. So here's what I've just proven to you. I've proven to you that if you have a dividing problem, to get the same answer, you could also multiply by the reciprocal and get the same answer. That's really important when you're working with fractions because we don't actually divide fractions. What we do is we multiply by the reciprocals. By showing you this, I've proven to you that what I'm going to show you works. I'm going to show you how to multiply by the reciprocal instead of dividing. And this is your proof that it will give you the same answer. Okay? So let me show you that. Remember, our objective is to divide fractions. So let's start with this. Let's start with -2/5 divided by 4/7. Okay? Now, instead of dividing, I'm going to rewrite this as a multiply problem because I just proved to you that multiplying by the reciprocal gives you the same answer. It divides the group in the same way. Now, the first number stays the same. Okay? It's the reciprocal of the second number, 4/7. The reciprocal is 7/4. Now, our lesson yesterday was multiplying. Now that it's a multiplying, we just do exactly what we did yesterday. -2 times 7 gives me -14. 5 times 4 is 20. And then I simplify. 14 and 20 are both divisible by 2. That is 7/10 negative. And that would be my final answer. Okay. Let me show you another example. Go back to our objective. We're going to divide fractions and mixed numbers. So now I need to show you a mixed number. Let's do 4 and 1/6 divided by -1 and 2/3. Okay. The first thing I'm going to do is make these improper fractions. 6 times 4 is 24, plus 1 is 25/6, divided by negative. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5/3. Okay. Instead of dividing, I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. So the first number stays the same. I change it to multiplying. The reciprocal is still going to be negative. Instead of 5/3, I'm going to put 3/5. Okay. Now I can multiply by two numbers. 25 times 3 is 75. My answer is going to be negative because the signs are different. Remember, if the signs are different when you multiply or divide, the answer is negative. The signs are the same. The answer is positive. And then 6 times 5 is 30. That's an improper fraction, so I have to make it a mixed number. 30 can go into 75 two whole times. That's only 16, or 60. So there are 15 30ths left over. And 15 30ths is 1/2. So my answer is -2 1/2. Okay? Those are the only two examples I need to show you today. I'd like you to write down what questions you have. Tomorrow we'll do a couple more examples and then we'll go through some of your questions.